So it's Thursday, and I'm going to be harvesting a bunch of stuff today for delivery to folks on Friday, which is tomorrow. So I wanted to talk today a little bit about how I'm deciding how much I can sell to people, and then maybe I'll kind of take you along a little bit for a little bit of harvest stuff and a little bit of delivery stuff. But yeah, so I'm only doing, well, okay, here's the thing. I'm centering my produce sales around my, what I'm calling lettuce mix. So it's my Salanova lettuce, red and green, plus some baby greens. And last week what I did was baby chard and this orach, which I'm growing here in the greenhouse, which was almost more of almost a microgreen size at the time. So I didn't do a great job this year about getting my little soil blocks seeded often enough and getting enough successions out. So I have my first succession of lettuce planted outside that I'm harvesting from right now. I'm hoping that in 2 and 3 weeks my second succession of lettuces will be ready. I don't know how well the Salanova lettuce is going to grow back from that first succession that I'm cutting right now. And then I've got a flat of lettuce already going. So that is limiting me this season because I'm only going to hit about 10 people this week, whereas I probably could have sold to as many as 20 people. The other thing that's limiting though is what I'm doing is I'm not just selling the lettuce mix in the, it's kind of like an 8-ounce bag. I'm doing that as part of a salad pack is what I call it. And that includes the bag of lettuce mix, these mini cucumbers for about 4 each in a little pack, and radishes. So I only have like 5 radishes that I could harvest, and then I'm kind of done until the next succession, which is still growing, is ready. So when I counted and looked earlier this week, I was like, okay, I think that this number, I'm gonna have 40 cucumbers, so I can do 10 packs of mini cucumbers. So it's like, okay, let's do 10 lettuce mixes, 10 packs of mini cucumbers. Oh no, I only have 5 bunches of radishes. So what I have mature this week is green onions. So my salad pack this week, rather than lettuce, cucumbers, and radishes, is going to be lettuce, cucumbers, and green onions. So I've got 10 people who want that stuff. And what I did was the people that had indicated they kind of would like stuff regularly, I put those kind of at the top of my list. And then I put my information out on Facebook on Wednesday, so that was yesterday, just to my own Ivy Patch Produce Facebook page, and just waited to see who would come to that. And so then I got, a number of people from that, so I added those folks to the list. I got a couple of texts and stuff like that, so I ended up filling out my 10 folks for the salad pack. And then this morning, or whatever, mid-morning, I shared my page to the Wrangell community group because I do have an excess, I'd say, of Italian kale still available and mature chard bunches available, and also basil. So I put that out there, and we'll see how many people will get back to me and see if I get a little few more that I'm going to be harvesting from those things. I also called the restaurant in town, which has bought basil for me the last couple of years, because my basil's coming on really strong, and my second succession of basil that I have planted over there is going to be ready at some point here, and so I've got quite a bit. And so she's going to next week need a 6-ounce bag of basil, so that kind of helps go through the basil. And so anyway, that's kind of how I'm deciding on things, because in the future I'll know then, like, oh, for this bed of cucumbers I get about this many cucumbers off of it, and so then I'll kind of know. But this year I don't know, so I'm really guessing. So that's how I'm dealing with the guessing part of it. Yeah, so today, number one thing that takes the longest is cutting the lettuce and the baby greens, getting them into the sink that I have. It's a stainless steel sink. is actually a pretty big sink, but it's not. I'm actually kind of glad. I was going to have a sink with a greens bubbler ready this year. I wasn't sure what the size of it should be, but I'm kind of glad I waited because, I didn't wait, I didn't get it done, but I really do need a bigger sink than what I have in order to, because this is what's slowing me down. It takes me like an hour to do like 3 packs of lettuce because I can only put a certain amount in to rinse it, and I don't have a bubbler ready, so I just agitate it, and then I only rinse it once. I'm not selling it ready to eat. I'm selling it as something that somebody would just probably want to wash. I mean, I would just eat it, but I don't want to sell it for liability reasons. I want people to know that they need to wash it. And then I spin it, my big old orange spinner, which is really nice actually. I think I'm going to stick with that for a while rather than try and set up a whole, washing machine type spinner thing. I think I'm just going to roll with that because it works really well. Then also I'll be harvesting green onions for the first time this week, and they take a while to kind of clean the roots off and everything. I don't have a lot of refrigeration space this week because I have my own a new thing of apples and potatoes in there. So I'm going to store my salad mixes and green onions, but I may actually end up doing some harvesting of like the kale, chard, and definitely the basil. I like to harvest the day of because it's just so delicate. I just want to kind of get it really quickly to people. Hey, so it's Friday morning. This is when I deliver things to everyone. I got everything harvested and cleaned yesterday except for the kale and chard and the basil bunches. So I'm going to first harvest some kale and chard for my #1 customer, and I'm going to get that stuff to him early, so I'll take that down. It'll kind of clear up some space in the fridge, and then I'll get the rest of the kale, chard, and basil harvested for everybody else because I'm going to take stuff around about 4 or 5 o'clock this evening. From my experience, I would say that red chard is the most reliable seller, but people also like the rainbow chard, and it's awfully pretty, so that's what I'm growing here. I cut one stalk off of each plant and bunch them together to make a little rainbow bunch. I wouldn't grow the green chard all by itself because it just doesn't seem to sell as well. So with the kale, I actually pull the leaves off, but for both of them, I bunch them into 8-ounce bunches and then rubber band them together. And typically you wouldn't wash a chard or a kale bunch unless they're really dirty. So this is Italian kale here, and from my experience, it's the best seller, followed by, well, what I have here is called scarlet kale, sometimes called red or purple kale. And then after that, next in line would be the frilly green kale that you typically see at the store. Doesn't sell quite as well as either the red or the Italian. Okay, so I'm putting together boxes for my #1 customer. It's about 11:30 now, and then I'll just take this stuff down to him, and then I'll start working on other people's stuff. But what I have here is I've got my list here. So I can check to make sure I've got everything that he wants in the boxes. And so I've got 2 Italian kale, 1 scarlet kale, 1 chard, 1 bunch of baby kind of mustard greens, which are really nice. And he wanted 3 bunches of parsley. These are about 1 ounce each, and I've got them mixed Italian and curly because I don't have a whole lot still growing. And then I've got 1 little bunch of mint, which is about a 1/2 ounce. So I'll change the price on that. And then in this box here, he wanted 2 bags of what I'm calling lettuce mix, with the Salanova lettuce and the baby greens. I've got 2 of the green onions here, a 3-ounce bag of basil. I'm putting the little mini cucumbers into a little pack here. So there's 4 of those in there. And then I had a limited number of radishes, so we got a radish bunch there. And that is everything. Okay, so I made a little bit more room in the fridge, so I'm gonna go ahead and harvest the chard and kale for everybody else. And so what I do is I put rubber bands on my wrist, so I know that I need 2 kale and 9 chard. I decided to go ahead and get the basil. It's, what time is it? About almost 1:30. So I got a little while before I'm going to do the first delivery, like probably 3:30 or something like that. So I'll probably go ahead and put these up in water at the house. They're like be just like cut flowers. So for bunches, I like to do, well, I did a video on basil, talking specifically about basil, but I like to do a nice big bunches. These guys. So if I get these really big guys, then I can rubber band these together, and this is a bunch. But if I can't get any that big, then I'll put like 3 smaller ones together, and then I put it up between the leaves and go around twice. Doo-doo-doo. Okay, that's how it goes. So now I'm filling bags. I've got 4 bags. And a couple of people, somebody's got basil, just basil, and somebody's got just cucumbers. So I'll start with those guys first. So I did a video on my freezer to fridge conversion, if you want to see that. But I've got everything kind of packed in here. Okay, so I've got my 4 bags, my basil, my cucumber bag right here, and I am headed out. So it's about 3:20. I'm headed out. Got my first batch of stuff. Okay, see ya. I'm making the drop. Okie doke. So I've got some more bags here. I was a little bit early, so I've got somebody who's going to be texting me. And so if I get the text, I'm just going to zip off. But I'm going to go ahead and fill these bags in the meantime. And I think I'll have enough room in the fridge just to stick the bags in the fridge. So here we go! Oakley, folks, so I checked everything twice, and hopefully I didn't have any leftover things this time, so everything should be good. And I'm headed out for another pass, and then I'll hit my neighbors. Okay, so it's 4:15. I'm doing all right. I'm headed out again. Let's go. This is my Invoice Simple app, and just so I have all of my sales stuff in here for the week, so I know what I'm selling weekly as far as each item. And so it's just kind of a nice way of keeping track. Even though I have like this paper list of things, I can always go to my invoices and check to see how much I was selling per week. So then, oh, battery low. So I add in, for example, an item. This is like the baby lettuce mix. And so there's that. And I sold to Wrangell delivery, I sold 8. And so then it puts in my first entry there. And so then like the next item would be cucumbers. I sold 9. So that's cucumber. And I sold 9 to Wrangell delivery. It's not going in. Oh my gosh. There it goes. 9. And so then, and I just keep kind of going down the list. It's just a nice way to keep track. I don't actually send this invoice to anybody. I do send the invoice to my number 1 customer just so he knows how much it's costing him. Anyway, that's that. Hey guys, got my last 2 bags. And I'm headed over to my neighbor's. Oh my goodness. He's a porcupine. And they're hell on wheels, according to all the people that grow things.